If you're bringing your kid to this, go ahead and have your response ready for, "What's an orgy, mommy?" Welcome back. I'm Nicholas Alexander Burke, and let's talk Thor: Love and Thunder. Chris Hemsworth is back as Thor and is the only character in the MCU to have a fourth solo movie. Taika Waititi returns as director, and this film stars Tessa Thompson, Christian Bale, and Natalie Portman as the mighty Thor. Its synopsis reads, Thor embarks on a journey unlike anything he's ever faced. A quest for inner peace, however, his retirement gets interrupted by Gorr the God Butcher, a galactic killer who seeks the extinction of the god. To combat the threat, Thor enlists the help of King Valkyrie, Korg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster, who, to his surprise, inexplicably wields his magical hammer. Together, they set out on a harrowing cosmic adventure to uncover the mystery of the God Butcher's vengeance. How does the 29th MCU film stack up? I thought it was okay. Spoiler free, so I'll be very vague. What works? The characters. Thor Ragnarok was the movie that made Thor a more comedic character, and Thor Love and Thunder fully embraces that. You can easily tell that Chris Hemsworth is having fun being this silly, and he's fully committing to this. Korg is Korg, and Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie brings the character some personality and nuance. But I know why you're here, so let's talk about the mighty Thor and Gorr the God Butcher. Jane Foster in this movie, because of reasons, can now wield a reforged Mjolnir with the powers of Thor, and refers to herself as the mighty Thor. I enjoyed her in the role, and I think she acts as if anybody would act if they recently got the powers of Thor and now has to save the universe against a guy called Gorr the God Butcher. Now, Christian Bale as Gorr is great. He was weird, he was creepy, he was inspired, and his motives, similar to Thanos and Killmonger, were understandable. He raises some real questions, some real world questions about religion and being spiritual. What else worked was some of the storytelling decisions. In the marketing, we have some black and white scenes, and this sequence in the actual film is visually the most interesting part of the whole movie. It was really creative and really fun to witness that. A critique I had with Thor Ragnarok is that anytime there was a serious moment, it was always intercut with a very forced joke. It wasn't organic at all. What Thor Love and Thunder does is fully commit to the comedic aspect of Thor. And this makes this probably the most comedic MCU title that they've put out. And what this movie does better than Ragnarok is that it lets the serious moments be serious. And if there is a joke in it, then it's organic, it's natural. It's a joke that anybody would tell in a serious situation like that. And I will say, what also works is Thor's new costume. He has about 3 different looks in the film, but this very colorful one is his main suit. In official photos and merchandise, I wasn't really a fan of it. But just like Batman's suit in Batman v Superman,
not Justice League,
but Batman v Superman, Thor's costume looks better in motion. There's a lot of little details in this suit that reflect light in such a way that when he's walking or fighting, he really looks like this magical person, this god amongst humans, and it really works. And I noticed that there are 2 versions of the suit. Yes, there is a more fully armored one that comes with the helmet and the gold sleeves, and then he has the more relaxed one that you see for almost the entirety of the film. But I'm not talking about that. If you're paying attention to the movie, you will notice that the relaxed version of this suit has silver plating on the chest and on the torso with a gold belt and gold accents throughout the suit, especially around the hands. But this suit also in other shots has blue plating on the chest and on the torso, and the belt is more black, and there's more blue accents around the suit, including the hand. I think this was actually a mistake left in the movie. MCU films are always changing, especially in the production process. I think at some point there was an update to the relaxed version of the suit. Not sure which one came first, but at some point it was updated, and they had shot so much of it that they either forgot to change it throughout the film, or they didn't care and thought we wouldn't notice it. Anyway, when you're watching a movie, see if you can catch how many times the silver plates change from silver to blue. Stormbreaker and Mjolnir are also very funny in this movie, And that's all I'll say. What doesn't work? In my social media review of this movie, I mentioned that this film falls victim to several MCU tropes. And don't worry, I won't say which ones because those will spoil things, but there are at least 2 tropes that we commonly see in the MCU present in this movie. And for this movie being a comedy, I didn't laugh that much or as hard as I wanted to. The first time I saw this movie, I was by myself, and the second time I saw it, I went with friends, and I was hoping that second time I would laugh a little bit more, and I pretty much laughed about the same amount. If you're a fan of Taika Waititi's comedy, then you're gonna think this is hilarious. You're gonna love it. And if you're more of a casual fan, then this movie just may come off as a little funny. In this movie, there are several things that happen off screen that really should happen on screen, and a lot of it has to do with Gorr. Most times our heroes are reacting to things that Gorr has done rather than experiencing it in real time. This movie at times is also incredibly convenient. And there are several things that happen, a number of which with the Gorr, you're like, how did that even, okay? And that's not on Christian Bale because he's great. It's more so what the writing has Christian Bale doing. And lastly, the MCU does this thing where they would end a movie introducing a certain element. And you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. I wonder how this is going to play a role into future movies. And then that future movie comes around and that element is wrapped up in like the first 5 to 10 minutes. This movie starts like that. And although this movie ends with a very major development for Thor, I'm not sure how excited to be about it because of the past and how many times Marvel has introduced something major and it be wrapped up in the next movie pretty quickly. There are 2 post-credit scenes in this movie, so stay for both. The first one was pretty cool. However, there is an MCU trope in it that kind of takes away from it, but nonetheless, that post-credit scene was pretty cool, and I'm interested to see how this element is handled going forward. The second one is cool too. It's not anything too crazy. If you're a fan of the 2 comic runs that this story is based off of, then you may be able to predict where things may go after watching it. So yeah, overall, Thor Love and Thunder was moderately funny and brings some heavy, major implications to the table for Thor's future. However, its randomness at times, its comedic elements at times, and classic MCU storytelling decisions hold this movie back from reaching its full potential. It gets a solid 7 nicks out of 10, which is still a pretty good score. Have you seen it yet? Did you think it's hilarious? Are you jealous that I own both hammers? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Look out for my season 3 review of The Boys. And as always, thank you so much for watching.